Okay, so we'll just introduce ourselves because obviously it's live. We need to get a sound check for anyone watching this afterwards. So my name is Francesca Fattore. I'm an ex-female prisoner. I served 3 years, 8 months behind bars. And thank you for joining me today, Gemma, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
My name's Gemma, aka Bipolar Mum Journey, and I'm also an ex-female inmate, and I served 11 months behind bars.
And do you want to just explain why you went to prison, if you don't mind?
I went to prison for reactive abuse, but my charge was GBH with intent, which is a Section 18, for stabbing my perpetrator.
And also you're doing a lot on social media now, so do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So I am a blogger, mental health blogger, and an advocate for mental illness. So I'm just putting content out there to explain what it's like raising a baby in prison because I gave birth in prison.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us, Glenna and Jenny. Can you just let us know that the sound's okay? So yeah, Gemma has social media platforms. She has TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, if you want to give her a follow. So we're just on here this afternoon, wishing the day away, just doing a Q&A. So if any of you guys have got any questions about prison, we're good, thank you, Jenny. How are you? Seems okay my end. Is it okay to you, Gemma?
Yeah, everything's flowing my end. I think we're good to roll.
Yeah. So what was your experience like giving birth in prison?
Absolute bedlam, but not too bad, you know. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The unit where the babies are raised was really, really good, actually. So they experienced a lot of normality because the nursery staff would take the babies out, so they still got lovely fresh air, went to parks, cafes, shopping. So it was, you know, it was quite normal for the babies. I know being born in prison, you're going to think they're stuck behind bars all day, every day, but they're not. And they have an access to a lovely nursery, and they promoted breastfeeding and healthy eating. So we weren't allowed to feed the babies baby jars. It had to be freshly cooked food. So it was really good in that sense. And it helped mothers that weren't, you know, great
I'm
at
really
cooking,
sorry.
how to cook. So that they could take that skill and use it on the out. And they registered all the baby's milestones, which is something you probably wouldn't even do on the out. You'd get the baby book, write the first 2 pages, and then you're never writing it again. But by law, the nursery staff have to log every single milestone of your baby. So you leave with a big file with a CD full of photos and all the little nice outings they've done, messy play and little footprints. So it's a really good service for the babies. And to be fair, I've got a better record on my son that was born in prison than I have on the babies that were born on the out. So yeah, that was my experience of giving birth in prison.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, at least it wasn't a bad experience.
No, it was all right. It was all right. It was all right.
Are we all right to go to questions? So, so someone's asked, how's your views changed of the justice system since you were released? Where do you even start?
Should I take this one?
Yes, you go ahead.
So in prison, I was coerced by and groomed by a prison officer into a relationship which involved intimacy. So my view on the criminal justice system is tainted by the predatory values of that prison officer who groomed me. And this went on for 7 or 8 months. It wasn't until I got out of prison that I was able to tell my probation worker what he'd subjected me to. And then he lost his job, luckily, and was charged. But because I didn't want my name dragging through the papers again on such a shameful incident, I didn't attend court. So they went ahead in my absence, and he was able to talk his way out of it and say it was only a intimacy act and not full intimacy. And he basically got away with it with a slap on the wrist. So my view on the criminal justice system is not a good one. And also, I noticed officers bullying inmates, beating up inmates who were, you know, mentally incapacitated, so to speak. And that wasn't the only officer that was predatory. There was a couple. There was a lifer girl that was having a full affair with an officer in their long-term affair. I think that was sensual, though. It wasn't really a grooming episode.
Yeah, I mean, with
Go on.
first-hand experience myself, like I had officers fancy me. I had
Yeah.
an officer emailing me from a friend's account outside of the prison.
Yeah.
It is really corrupt.
Yeah.
You know, the drugs and stuff that they bring into the prison. You're
Yeah.
supposed to go there, and they're supposed to be like authority, and some of them are actually worse than what the prisoners are, and it doesn't make it a safe place. I mean,
No.
obviously, for what you experienced must have been horrific, but you're not the only ones.
No.
You know, there was so many essays when I first went in around 2005, 2006, that they stopped the staff having keys on the landings at night time, and they have cameras on the landings now, but
Okay.
that's because they can see the officers going in.
Yeah.
So that's why, I don't know if you recall, that the puppers, they're called puppers, they're two night staff would walk around together at night time, but they're the only ones that have the key. So I know this for a fact, because being a listener, we got locked in a room with another prisoner if they called out for help. So we could be stuck in that room for about 2 hours because the puppers might be stuck at the other side of the prison doing something else. So that's how they know how corrupt the system is inside their cells, that they've had to change all these like rules and stuff, you know. So yeah, sorry, I mean, I didn't experience what you did. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna lie, we found it quite funny that the officers would hover around my room and get, you know, every minute they could get and come and hang down the landing. You know, it was the talk of the landing. They made it abundantly clear to everybody else as well.
I think for somebody like me, because I've been treated like a piece of meat my whole life, I've been essayed quite a bit growing up. And I think it just reiterated to me that I am just a piece of meat, you know. So it really damaged me in more ways than one. It wasn't so much the act itself, it was the aftermath of it. Like, oh, you are just worthless, you know. I went to prison feeling worthless, and I came out of prison feeling even more worthless. So it really damaged me mentally. And that's what people need to, you know about these things, because it's not fair, and prison officers need to change. There should be boundaries in place at all times, you know, even when inmates are trying to pursue an officer through, you know, a crush or whatever. That officer has got to put in a boundary and treat that person as a human and not a piece of meat, and they're just not doing that.
No, I agree. You know, I understand at the end of the day, these officers, they get to know us inside out, right? They see my moods, they see my jokiness, they see my kindness, they see it all. So then it wouldn't be abnormal to be around somebody so long and then suddenly have feelings for somebody, but they need to leave. That's where they need to leave, because you can't help but meet somebody. Not all of us are vulnerable that go in, or you know, on drugs, or you know, trying to to like groom them to bring stuff in. Do you know what I mean? You know, we are all human at the end of the day. But you know, I can actually say that one of them did actually leave because of the way that they felt about me, and they'd done the right thing. Nothing ever happened. They would never have crossed the line. But does that still make it okay? No, it doesn't. So I'm just going to cut off things. We've got some questions. Somebody said the officers that committed wrongs while giving a duty of care should be named and shamed and serve time. Yep, totally, Jenny. I agree.
I do
Do
believe.
you have any suggestions how the officers could be better equipped to do their job properly?
I think more training around mental illness, and just like, you know, how to treat people. I think a lot of them go in there with this totalitarian attitude,
Finished.
and it's just
Sorry, yeah. As you probably noticed, there's people filming here at the minute. So carry on. Sorry.
no, like I said, there needs to be more just people skills. They need to improve their people skills. They go in there with like a bully mentality, like I'm the boss and you're the bottom of the chain, and like, it's just not good. And yeah, officers need to be psychologically assessed and a big background check on them, because they just seem to slip through the net, and it's not good. I mean, for people like me that have come across narcissists and predators, it's easy for me to pick up on one, but to somebody that isn't so aware, these narcissists can flutter their eyelashes and get the job, and then boom, that's it. Then it's that power trip, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, let me just hide. So I'm just getting rid of some comments. Yeah, trust no officer. Yeah, no, they definitely. I think the problem is as well, and I've said this before, is they're employing too many young ones. They're so desperate for staff, so they haven't lived. And I've
Yeah.
actually done a newspaper report on this. The problem is they haven't lived, so they don't know how to contain their feelings. They don't know, and like, you imagine being 21, because some of them are real young, like 22.
Yeah.
And then literally, hi Will, literally then they don't know how, they just end up in a relationship, then they end up bringing stuff in, and God knows what.
You've
As
just got
much as
to have you've just got to cut yourself off from the emotional side. Like, I can't explain it, really just got to hold on to your feelings.
No, 100%.
Support women better when they leave prison. Well, I mean, do you know what? My probation worker was really good. And I think it's because she was female. And prior to her, I'd only ever had male officers. So I think assigning women probation workers would make a good start, because the male probation workers I've had were terrible. So having a female for once was really good.
Well, I've got two things to say on this one. So one, basically, I was on license for 3 years, 8 months, and I went to the office 3 times. I had no contact with my probation officer for 7 months. I've got it on a WhatsApp. I'm like, just checking everything's still okay. So obviously, how can we help people more? I know, it's crazy.
I went to probation every week.
Yeah, they just left me alone. But for example, like Glenna said, it's this project, the project that you're involved in, that Glenna, has set up, that we're helping women with mental health. And I think it takes more ex-prisoners like us that to keep working together and doing what we're doing, expand the project, help women. And we've got that first-hand experience between us, the little group that we're doing with this webinar. We've got I Can't Cover Addiction, you've got mental health, you've got DV, you've got, domestic abuse, you've been SA'd. So we've got people in all different areas, housing. We're all, like she said, raising our voice. We want to be heard, and coming together, literally, we're really powerful. And I think that's the main wave to help society. Does that make sense? When the women are coming out, like our next stage in the project, I'm so sorry, Monkey wants to be in the starlight. When with our project, the next step for us is we want to be meeting and greeting the women outside of prison, but we're now just on we're on pause for it, because we need to get the funding for it, because we want care packages. We can't just go there. We want to help the women that are coming out homeless, so we can support them.
I think there's not enough platforms for the average Joe to have their say as well. And a lot of us women are carrying all this shame and all this guilt. And I think what we're doing now, Fran, is providing a platform for the average Joe to have their say and get rid of some of that shame and guilt. Because a lot of us prisoners do come out and turn our lives around, but there's a few that don't. And then we're all branded the same as the few that don't, So we are raising awareness that you can come out of prison and turn your life around.
Yeah, that's one of the key things that I do always say. Like, this is why women need to be heard. This is part of why I do what I do on my channel, to show that, like you've just said, sorry, my monkey's just being a nightmare. She's just trying to climb up my new curtains. She's distracted me. So yeah, so basically, people can change. We're not all scum. Some people are, but not all of us.
Yeah.
Has anyone got any questions? I'm just going to open the window. 1 second. I'm just going to open the window for her so she can go out. That's why she's crying. Go on then. Anybody got any questions? We can change, Jenny. And the more of us that speak up, the more of us that talk out, we will get heard.
Does Glenna need does Glenna want to say anything? Have you got anything to say, Glenna? Is there any way we can get on it? So, okay, so my charge was on the internet for a very long time, and I had to petition to get that charge newspaper article taken down. So my suggestion would be write to the newspaper article or the newspaper that published your article and just say, look, you know, is there any way you can take this article down? I'm a changed person and I don't believe that this article should be on the internet anymore because it's hindering me and my chances of getting work. So write an email and just be persistent with it to the newspaper that published the article. Is there any news? I think her merch
makes me look like I've got no eyebrows.
So that would be my suggestion on that one. Write to the newspaper, email the newspaper, whoever published your article.
Well, I think you're both amazing and you should be super proud of how far you've come. Thank you, Kieran. Yes. The weekend, Karen. The merch is, it's actually good to go. I've just got to clarify a couple of things with Glenna. And that'll be the weekend. And I know I've said it for the last 2 weeks, but I have been getting the last touches done in this room. But it is all complete now, guys. As you may well have seen on Instagram. Will, I am gonna do a book. I mean, it's quarter written. I wrote it in prison. Is that even the right terminology, the way I just said that? Anyway, but yeah, I've just been so mad busy.
It's just getting onto the computer, isn't it, Fran?
It's not that. It's obviously with mum working, decorating. But now this is all done. I'm good to rock and roll. The next thing, because we're already started with the project, so that's already, the webinar's done. The next thing on the weekend will be the merchandise, and then and then it's all just big things coming now. So we're doing some filming today, if you didn't notice, and then I've got a podcast Sunday, another podcast the week after. So it's just been a bit busy at the minute.
Should we wrap it up then, Fran? Have they got what they need, or do you want
to? Have you got everything that you need, yeah? Well, thank you, Gemma, so much for coming on. Thank you to everyone that just jumped on. Sorry, it was just a quick one. It's we're just doing some filming. So no, I really appreciate it, Gemma. Thank you, Glenna, for modding. And guys, I'll be back on at 8 o'clock tonight anyway. Back on at 8 o'clock. So join us.
Join Fran and is it also an ex-female?
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.